Do you ever wonder how your actions today might affect the distant future? Indigenous peoples all around the world, past and present, have lived their lives as if the decisions they make now ripple centuries into the future. The Iroquois, for example, lived as though their actions should result in a sustainable world 7 generations into the future. They called it the 7th generation principle. One look at our modern world and you can see we're different. We buy products made thousands of miles away with materials flown in from all corners of the earth. Things we use today and discard tomorrow. You might be surprised that one of them is on your skin right now. Your clothes. Fast fashion is what we call clothing that's worn for a short amount of time and discarded. That's a problem because clothes take a tremendous amount of natural and non-renewable resources to produce. The fashion industry creates more CO2 than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. If the fashion industry were a country, its emissions would rank almost as high as the entire European continent. The chemicals and dyes contaminate waterways and harm workers, and only 1% of the material is recycled into new clothing. The non-renewable synthetic fibers persist in the environment forever as microplastics. Microplastics have been found in sea life, salt, and drinking water, so it should come as no surprise that they've been found inside us. This happens because plastics aren't biodegradable. They break up into ever smaller pieces, from synthetic clothing to industrial polymers to that plastic cup you only used once that ends up forever in the ocean. Nearly 300 million metric tons of these single-use plastics are produced every year, the approximate weight of 300 Burj Khalifa towers, the tallest building in the world. That's a lot for something used only once, especially when those plastics last forever. Unfortunately, the trend isn't slowing. We've seen exponential growth in plastic production from 1950 to 2020, and it's expected to double by 2050. Your electronics contain more than plastics. Rare earth minerals, toxic substances, and precious metals, all resource intensive to mine and produce. These too we discard all too readily. E-waste is the world's fastest growing waste category. In 2019, the world discarded 53.6 million metric tons of electronic waste. That rubbish dump would weigh as much as 4,500 Eiffel Towers. Even what we eat is wasted in abundance. Imagine a farm the size of China and India, bursting with healthy, nutritious crops and food for the world. Now imagine taking that harvest and throwing it in the bin. That is what we do every year, and it comes with a $1 trillion price tag. Hunger affects more than 800 million people across the world. However, 1/3 of all food produced is wasted. Much of it winds up in landfills, where the organic matter decomposes, emitting methane gas in the process, an even more potent greenhouse gas than CO2. The problem of food waste is so severe, in fact, that researchers at Project Drawdown believe reducing it would be the #1 solution to the climate crisis. How did we get to this point? The answer isn't simple, but our current situation has a lot to do with growing too fast, too quickly. We haven't had the time or incentive to properly taper resource use. While the growth of first world nations has slowed, emerging market economies require significant resources to keep growing. They also lack stringent environmental regulations and enforcement agencies to keep pollution and resource exploitation in check. Currently, economies and markets are based not on sustainable principles, but on the idea of limitless economic growth. An endless increase in profits would make sense if we lived in a market of infinite resources. However, This is not the case. Our planet's resources are declining, particularly fossil fuels, and continuing to use resources in this way is not sustainable. Companies need to recognize the fact that the current market system is also part of a bigger environmental system. Sustainable action is not just the right thing to do. Often, it is even the smartest thing to do for the companies themselves. Sustainability is a complex problem. We cannot see, hear, or otherwise sense what is happening in real time, and there are no easy solutions. Energy use, travel, heating, air conditioning, and so many other aspects of daily life contribute to our carbon footprint, but it's difficult to measure their individual impact in the moment. The best thing we can do on an individual level is to be conscious of the problem in the first place. Then we can learn to waste less, stop buying things we don't need, make more sustainable food, clothing, and travel choices, all while supporting responsible companies. Sustainability defines a balance between people and nature. As the dominant species on this planet, everything we do has a major impact. But that impact doesn't have to be negative. Instead of exploiting, we can contribute. We can take less and give more. We can use our natural resources more efficiently. In short, we can adapt the Iroquois philosophy to our modern, global way of life. The UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development defines 17 sustainable development goals the entire world should strive to meet. With our combined efforts, we can clean up our natural waterways, reverse anthropogenic global warming, build sustainable cities, halt resource exploitation, and protect ecosystems and wildlife. Knowing all this, it doesn't hurt to think about how your actions might affect the distant future. Because if you can take responsibility for your actions, you can help others to make better, more informed decisions. Over time, awareness will spread. Our way of looking at the world will change for the better, and so will our behavior. And eventually, before irreversible damage is done, we'll make for ourselves a sustainable world.